This is my entire workflow, from first sketch to final render, using only 2 tools. This time, I'm designing a full school project from scratch. From the concept to the modeling, texturing, lighting, and rendering, every step of the process is captured in this video. Now, more than creating a beautiful image, I want to show you my workflow and of course, how I did this with a setup that made everything 10 times faster and easier. Welcome back everyone, my name is Steven, and in this video I will show you how I designed this school and visualized it using D5 Render in its version 2.11, which is running on an HP Z6 G5A workstation, which is a complete powerhouse for 3D rendering. Now, quick disclaimer, this video is sponsored by D5 Render and HP, but I do want to be fully transparent. Without a tool like D5 Render and hardware like the HP's workstation, I would not have been able to complete this project in the time frame that I did. Now, I've always said what makes an image great is the use of color, light, and composition. If those are on point, even the most basic tools can give you solid results. But when you pair strong fundamentals with a tool like D5 Render, running on a machine like the HP Z6, you get the best of both worlds. Alright, so let me show you how I approached it. Let's go. So I started by sketching out rough ideas on my graphic tablet. For this school, I wanted to use a tower platform typology to separate distinct programs while creating a unified point of access. The platform acts as a threshold between public and private, and I like the idea of doubling it as a semi-public space for the community. From a formal perspective, I kept things simple. I used 2 basic volumes, a gabled form extruded from a triangle and a rectangular glass box. This helped give each tower its own character while keeping the overall design legible. Once I had the basic ideas down, I jumped into Sketchup to develop some volumetric options. I tested proportions, relationships, and circulation, refining the concept into a dual volume timber structure unified by an elevated platform and open air paths. As always, I leaned on references. I looked into books and precedent projects for materiality, spatial configuration, and how public-facing buildings handle transparency and massing. Now, the architectural model was developed in Revit by a member of the Show It Better team. He recreated the full model from scratch based on my sketches and documented the process on his channel. So if you want to check the full video out, I'll link it in the description. Using the brainstorm concept, he set up grids and levels, modeled floors, structural elements, and curtain walls. One of the trickiest parts was handling the steep gable tower, which required special structural logic to create side terraces. Now, although the architecture came together in Revit, I handled the urban context in SketchUp. It gave me more freedom to test forms and paths quickly. I overlaid 2 grids, one rotated at 45 degrees, and used that to generate circulation and site geometry. Using the sandbox tools, I sculpted subtle hills and elevated grounds. These served both as viewpoints and as buffers from the noisy urban surroundings. And I also refined some architectural elements in SketchUp, like floor divisions and window frames. These details weren't final, but helped push the visuals for this stage of the project. By this point, I was modeling, coordinating with the team, sketching, running music, and working across multiple programs, all at the same time. Now, the HP workstation handled it all smoothly. With an AMD Ryzen Threadripper and up to 3 GPUs, it's built for workflows like this. And with the D5 LiveSync plugin for SketchUp, I imported the project directly into D5 Render. Initially, we tested syncing the Revit model and SketchUp urbanism separately, but after refining the model in SketchUp, I brought it all from there. Many materials were recognized instantly, while others still needed a little bit of adjusting. So as usual, I'll start by adding the basic materials to my model, like the pavement material, which I knew maybe I would change later down the road, but for the sake of having a material that had some texture, I decided to place this one. Then I also added some ground textures from the natural raw material library because I knew I was going to add a scatter on top of them later on. Then I passed on to adding the materials of the building. At first, I really struggled to find the right material palette. I was aiming for something that felt both institutional and grounded, a mix of earthy reds and frosty whites. But one very important tool that helped me arrive to the final materials was the new AI PBR Material Snap feature within the latest version of D5. So for example, for the glass facade, I knew I wanted something that was opaque and felt just a little bit like frosted ice, but not that much. So I searched for reference images and found this one cool building by Stephen Hall. I saved the image, went into the asset window, clicked on AI Material Snap. In the upload section, I clicked on it, uploaded my image. Then D5 instantly recognizes the different materials that are in the reference photo. From there, you can select the cursor, select the glass facade, and click on generate. And in a matter of seconds, D5 Render will create a new material that is very close and very accurate. What I really like though is that it also recommends me materials from the existing library that are similar to what I am looking for. Now, I have to be honest, even though I can spend hours scrolling through the different materials in D5, sometimes I just can't seem to find the one I want. So having this function will also allow me to find the correct materials to apply to my projects. So I applied this glass to my glass facade and then modify any other settings from the material instantly. Pretty cool, right? Now, after I apply the materials to the building, I'll go on to apply my grass and bushes, which is basically the majority of the exterior of my project, and a crucial part to having a really nice set of final images. Now, here comes probably one of the coolest functions of this last update, which is the D5 AI agent. And yes, it's like having your own ChatGPT within D5 Render. The difference is that AI can actually help you create amazing renders. So let me show you how it works. First, we will click on the AI agent button and a window will appear. Here, I'll have an option to create 3 different types of vegetation scatters. As soon as you select one, you can modify the parameters of the place that the project is in, for example, in my case, Colombia, the color palette, as well as the weather conditions it should be able to support. Then, like magic, D5 creates a set of plants and assets that fit this exact description. It gives you the list of these assets, which you can modify or delete at any time, and then just click on Create Scatter. After this, you just select the place that you want to scatter your vegetation in, and that is basically it. A process that used to take some time while you went and selected each plant for your scatter now just takes less than a minute with D5 AI Agent. Honestly, this feature left me really impressed. It's a major time saver, especially for large-scale landscapes like this one. Apart from creating really cool vegetation scatters, you can just ask the bot anything you want. If you have a question about D5, a problem within D5, you just ask it any questions and it will answer instantly. So in the case of my project, where I have so many different gardens and flower beds that I want to create, I can just create different scatters and that's it. Here's the project with all of the scatters that I have in place. Really cool, right? Now, as you can see, some are more complex than others, and just in case you don't want to use the AI agent, you can also just click on scatter, go to the scatter presets, and create more cool scatters. And as any other scatter within D5, you can always go back to the scatter, modify, add, or adjust any individual plant that's inside. So for example, in this case, in this specific scatter, I can select these plants, adjust the density, scale, and overall appearance. It's so easy that now there is no actual excuse for not being able to create a beautiful landscape render within minutes. Okay, well, unless your PC can't support it. But with all of these scatters in place, let me show you real quick how the HP workstation is performing. This specific setup is equipped with an NVIDIA RTX 6000 Ada that is more than enough for a huge project like this. You can see that I can navigate within my project with no lag, as well as still have a Chrome window open, Photoshop open, and so many more things. It's amazing. Honestly, of all the setups that I've had as an architect in the past, there hasn't been one that overperforms and exceeds the benchmark like this HP workstation. So if you're going to have AI workflows, 3D rendering, and create complex architectural projects, this is definitely the workstation that you should have. Now for adding trees, I used different methods. I knew I needed an external perimeter of a broadleaf trees, a second set of groups of trees that are in the hills surrounding the building, and a couple of highly detailed dynamic trees in the places that are important in the project and are going to be framed within the camera. So for the external perimeter, I went back to my SketchUp model and created a sloped rectangle surface surrounding the project and painted it with a different material. Then I went back into D5, selected scatter, and selected the mountain forest scatter preset. I adjusted it slightly just so it would have taller trees that would cover the horizon line, and that's it. Now for the other trees, I'll just select some of my favorite trees from the D5 render library, go to the top view, and start placing them manually. Honestly, I enjoy this process a lot. Then I'll start going to the places where I think my main views are going to be and manually placing trees there. Trees that frame the building correctly and don't cover any important details of the design. Also, I need to place some bushes in certain places that are already scattered, but I also need to maybe modify them later. So I'll go into the new advanced brush tool within D5 Render. Here I can select the assets that I want to place, then just paint over the areas where I want my vegetation. The best thing about this brush tool is that I can always go back and modify it. So I just click on the brush, remove any assets, or add any others that I need. I can even modify the brush path. I mean, come on, the team at D5 Render at this point is literally saying, hey, there is no excuse now. You can make beautiful landscaping in such an easy way. Okay, now I have placed assets, vegetation, materials, and my model looks good to go. Now comes one of the most important parts of the workflow, which is defining your main scenes. These scenes are the ones that will show your building, make the viewer understand easily or not how the building is structured and how the building is designed. So if done correctly, you should have 3 main images at the end where people can look at them and say, wow, what a simple but effective image. I understand the design. So let me give you one of my secrets to succeed in this process. I put D5 Render in walk mode, adjust the height and speed, and just start walking around inside and outside my building. I walk through the model until I stumble upon moments that naturally feel like strong compositions. When I see one, I save it as a scene. So as soon as I identify these places, I start saving them as scenes in the top left corner. And one by one, you start saving a bunch of scenes that are representative of your project. And here, I really recommend you have at least 10 completely different scenes. Then, as soon as you have your scenes, you start to visit them one by one and start modifying the environment, effects, camera angle in each one until you find that you have created an interesting set of images. So for example, for this main image, I made sure the foreground, middle ground, and background all were on point and looked really good. So given that the scatter was already in place, I put some butterflies in the foreground to give it some movement, and in the middle ground I placed a subtle fog particle and lowered the opacity. This will help in giving the image depth and contrast. Then for the building, I wanted it to be lit from one side, so I rotated the sun in height so I could give a great composition, and at the same time be aligned with one of the main paths to access the buildings. So it's important to mention that starting from this version of D5, path tracing will be set as the default way of rendering the images and visualizing your project in the interface. Also, with all of the assets, effects, and vegetation that we have in our image, you can pretty much guess how our workstation is performing. The HP Z-Sits G5A is fully customizable through HP's site, so you can tailor it to your workflow and budget, and upgrade it over time as your projects grow more complex. So for example, if you visit the website, you can find the different components that the Z-Sits can come equipped with, and the best part about a workstation is that you can customize it through time. So if in the future you want to upgrade, expand, and evolve your workstation, you can easily do so by expanding the memory and adjusting it to your needs. Now, before going on to render your image, I recommend you not to skip using the AI Atmosphere Match tool, within D5 Render. In this new update, this tool is working much better than before, and I can guarantee that it will help you in finding the right atmosphere for your image. So I'll go to the top right corner and click on Atmosphere Match. Here, I'll create a snapshot of my current image. Then D5 will have random images that I can use to match the atmosphere, or I can also upload my own image. So if you don't like any of the random images generated, you can always click on Randomize again, and 3 new ones will be displayed until you find the right one. Here I found really good ones, so I just selected the one I like the most and clicked on Generate. And in a matter of seconds, the sun, fog, environment, and effect settings will be adjusted to match as best as possible the reference image. This is a really useful tool when you know you will have a good point of view, but you feel the actual atmosphere needs some work. Then after you have your atmosphere on point, you can click on Render. Here, we want to make sure in our channels, our AI channel is turned on. This is going to make our AI post-processing much faster. After the image is rendered, we will click on AI post-processing. Here, I will usually start with the AI in painting. So for example, the vegetation here is something that I would want slightly improved. So I'll go into in painting, select vegetation, and select this garden preset. And with the cursor, click on all of my foreground vegetation that I think needs some extra work. I'll click on Generate and then wait for the image to process. I will keep on going and go on to the AI enhancer. So for example, this boy in the foreground looks very 3D-ish. So I'll select the boy and click on Enhance. And in a matter of seconds, our character goes from looking like this to looking like this. It's pretty amazing. Here you can just download your images and you're ready to go. I'll repeat the same process for all of the images and scenes that I want to render. And finally, I want to use the new isometric parallel projection option to create an aerial image that can show the entire project. So I'll go to Camera, click on Isometric, and adjust my view. Then I can either use the AI atmosphere match or my own settings to adjust the atmosphere, and then click on Render. After rendering, I'll go to the AI post-processing tab. Here, I'll go into In Painting and select the Nature slot. I'll go to the Natural Elements option, and with the cursor, select all of the green areas and use the AI In Painting tool to improve them. And as soon as I click on Generate and wait a few seconds, this is the result that we're going to see. Pretty cool, right? Aerial images were always a hassle to make, but with these new tools that incorporate AI into the workflow inside of D5, creating an aerial image is really easy. And finally, I created animations for my saved scenes. I kept things simple, like slow zooms, subtle motion, a little wind here and there, and maybe a bird flying through the frame. And that's it. So this project is still evolving, and I'll probably continue refining details in future videos, but honestly, working on this project with the tools I had felt liberating. It's frustrating when your ideas are limited by your setup. This time I did not feel any of those limits. Huge thanks again to D5 Render and HP for sponsoring the video and giving me the space to be creative. If you want to learn more about the HP Z6 G5A, I'll leave a link below. You can also try out D5 Render for yourself. The link will be down there as well. And hey, we're doing a giveaway. If you want to win a free D5 Render Pro license, comment below and answer the following question. Which scene or part of this video inspired you the most and why? I'll be announcing the winners in the next couple of weeks and announcing it in the pinned comment. If you want to see more content on D5, click this playlist right here. I post regularly on architectural visualization, so if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe and like the video. It really helps. So that's about it. See you in the next video. Bye.